Benio would find herself overcome with rage, coming face to face with the Kagare, the one that set her down this path, who stole everything from her. It was almost as if this was a cruel twist of fate from the universe. Only recently has she discovered the truth about the Hinatsuki tragedy and the role that her brother played in it, as well as his true feelings about her and her family. But now to come face to face with the Kagare, the Basara that had killed her parents over 6 years ago. Her spirit power would begin to overwhelm her as she cast multiple spells and enchantments on her arms and legs, drawing her twin swords as she collided with the Basara. The Basara, known as Kami, however, found no interest in Benio at all. She couldn't land a single strike on him, no matter what she did. Eventually, he became bored. The more she kept attacking, spouting the same nonsense that every exorcist often proceeded with before they died at his hands. Always talking about how they would avenge the fallen, how they promised on their life as an exorcist that they would do this and they would do that. But yet time and time again, Kamui came to see that when an exorcist came to the end of their life, more often than not, they showed their true colors. They would sacrifice and betray others, anything to save their own skin. Some would act underhandedly. Whenever he gave them the opportunity to leave, they would attempt to strike him. It was foolish, of course. Some heeded his advice and left, only to come back later, although there were others who never came back at all. But for Benio, she was a part of the rare ones. However, none of that would matter now because he had given her an option, a chance to leave or die. Benio, so clouded with anger, had already made her decision clear, and unfortunately, the consequences would be deep. Benio would lie on the ground as her spirit power began to fade, the spells and enchantments now starting to lose their strength, her legs having been crushed under her. As Kamui stood, with a puzzled look on his face, wondering what he was going to do next. I know. I'll let you decide. Should I kill you fast, or should I do it slowly? You have 10 seconds to make a decision. Benio could feel her life flashing before her eyes. For everything she had done, for everything she had worked for, this was how it came to an end. Dying at the hands of this Basara. However, before she could give a response and before the Basara could take it, from out of nowhere, a clobbering red fist would strike him in the face. It was Rokuro. He could feel the presence of the Kagare and the strong pull from Magano and came as quickly as he could. He didn't expect to find the talking, conscious Basara. Of all things, the worst of the Kagare. But seeing the state that Benio was in, his first priority was getting her to safety. After doing so, and removing her from Magano, he would use a healing talisman to treat her wounds, giving her food to eat, before going back to finish what he started with the Kagare. But Benio couldn't allow this. This was her burden to bear, her struggle. Rokuro, while he understood, he didn't want Benio to just throw away her life. But for Benio, everything had been building to this moment. I can't just leave it like this. My pride as an exorcist, everything I've been through, I can't just allow it to end this way. And what do you think is going to happen if you go back? You're just going to get yourself killed. And then what? At that point, you won't be able to live. There won't be any sense of revenge or anything else, and it killed my parents. Benio. First, Yuto, and now this. It's like everything is crashing down on me. If I keep running away, what am I going to do then? If I don't stand for myself now, I'll keep running. I'll never stop. I'll never change. I can't live like that, Rokuro. I just can't. You're right. You can't live like that. But going in headstrong, what's that going to prove? At least I'll know I tried, and everyone says that, Rokuro said. Everyone says that at least they go out trying. But it means nothing when you're dead. When you die, it's over. There is no second chance. There's no coming back for people like us. You only get one shot. And it's not very often that the universe will grant you another. You have to eat. Rokuro handed her a box of lunch. You have to get stronger. Recover your strength. Come find me in Magano. As Benio was left to tend to her wounds and to eat, Rokuro would return back to Magano to face against the Basara known as Kamui. Kamui seemed rather unimpressed. The only thing he cared about was an excellent challenge, a strong and powerful fighter. This young man was stepping up to the plate, and his arm, that right arm of his, there was something sinister coming from it. He wasn't sure of what it was, but it had to be something exhilarating, something worth acknowledging. Rokuro was more than willing to give his all in the fight, his anger rising on Benio's behalf. The power of an exorcist, it's strong from the pain of loss, but also the pain of empathy, of putting yourself through the experience of someone else. You can then grasp just some of the pain that they have had to endure. For Rokuro, he had had his hardships, yes, from what he experienced in the Hinatsuki tragedy, that night that had scarred him for so long. But now he found himself thinking about Benio. What had she had to endure for all these years? A girl who thought that she was raised in a loving family, thinking that everyone cared for one another, only to just discover that her brother was actually a monstrous murderer, a psychopath hell-bent on destroying the world. And now, the Basara, the Kagare, the one responsible for killing her parents, making her an orphan, who had set her down this path. For Rokuro, the astral wings of the hawk, crimson in nature, carried him into the skies as he collided against Kamui. His spirit power, it's continuing to grow in that right arm of his. This is intriguing. The wings of the hawk. That only confirms it. He must be one half of the twin stars, the ones prophesied to end the war. Rokuro's newfound strength would aid him well, but it would not be enough in this battle. Meanwhile, on the outside, as Benio finished the meal that she had been given, Kinako, her familiar, would warn her that going back could be the end of her. Sure, the duty of an exorcist, it meant you couldn't just leave someone else behind, not in Magano and not against an enemy like that. but perhaps it would be wiser to go and recruit the others. There's no time. Rokuro's there all alone. I can't leave him. But Benio-sama, if you go back, you could die. Perhaps. That's always a possibility. But I've been dying for over 6 years now, allowing myself to be left alone in the darkness. As much as she would have not liked to admit it, Rokuro had helped her in many ways. Remembering why she fought, remembering the importance of living. She did everything she was told. She trained when she was supposed to, slept when she was supposed to, ate what she was given when she was given. She thought that she was the perfect exorcist. But time and time again, reality had given her a swift kick in the ass. There was a pecking order, a totem pole, and right now she was nowhere near the top. But that was where both she and Rokuro wanted to be, where the wings of the hawk would take them, but only if they could carry themselves to that point. Her conviction was restored, her faith continuing to grow, her determination assured. The gates to Magano would open as a bloodied Rokuro stood once again, Kamui offering him a chance to leave or to stay and fight. But before he could strike him down, he would use a new power, one that Rokuro was not expecting. He pulled out what appeared to be a cursed talisman, a Basara that could use incantations, spells, and enchantments. Rokuro couldn't believe it. Since when were the Kagari capable of doing that? The fact was, the Basara were unlike any other kind of Kagare that an exorcist could face. After absorbing so many souls for so long, being steeped deep in the corruption of man, eventually the mindless Kagare were given consciousness, a personality, a form. That is what the Basara was. The evolution of the Kagare. They were so dangerous, in fact, that only exorcists who were of the 12 guardians or on equal level to the 12 guardians could even stand the chance of killing one. For any other, it was said that if you ever came across a Basara, your only option was to run and pray that it doesn't find you. Rokuro now found himself on the receiving end of Kamui as he used his cursed enhanced legs, a series of kicking and devastating strikes, booting Rokuro through solid concrete. Before he even had a chance to respond, Kamui was already descending upon him, ready to deliver the final blow. But before he could, he would be stopped, intercepted by Benio. She had returned, and her strength was only continuing to grow. Just as Rokuro used the crimson wings of the hawk, for Benio, her wings shimmered like a bright blue, a blue that you could find out in the open sea, cascading the light of the sun. For Benio, she continued to strike back against Kamui, almost matching him in speed, chasing him all across the battlefield. "You actually came back," Kamui said. "A waste of time. Your strikes, even if they land, they won't be able to kill me. It doesn't matter. I'll strike you 100 times, 1,000 times, 100,000 times if that's what it takes. But you will be exorcised. Yeah. I see you also bear the wings of the hawk. You and that boy. You are the twin stars. The ones prophesied to bring forth the Miko. The one who will destroy the Kagare. Knowing this, I can't allow you to live. Kamui would respond as his strikes would intensify against Benio. Despite her efforts, she wasn't able to reach him. He had jumped higher into the sky and knocked her back down, the force too great for her to bear alone. But before she could reach the bottom, Rokuro had flown up to meet her. I won't sit this part out. Rokuro? We're the Twin Star Exorcist, aren't we? Maybe we can't beat him alone, but together we just might have a chance. His right arm clasped onto the hilt of her sword. Together they shared the blade as one, their powers beginning to merge together. Now they were no longer enveloped in the light of the crimson and of the blue, but instead, a bright violet began to envelop them, as if they were of one wing, of one hawk. Is this the power of their resonance? The twin stars' spirit power. It's converging together. So this is what they're truly capable of. Kamui would grin. Because now things were getting interesting. An actual fight. If this is what you can do, then show me. Show me your true power. Twin Star Exorcist. Your sins and corruption, they will be cleansed. Your evil, erased from this earth. The sword would begin to merge and grow in size, their spirit power beginning to resonate as one, as they both flew towards Kamui. Twin Hawk! Resonance! The combined efforts of the Twin Star Exorcist, the Twin Hawk Resonance technique. Kamui would raise his defenses, preparing to tank the combined attack. The explosion would send both Rokuro and Benio flying, most of their spirit power completely spent. They could hardly stand, let alone fight. But for Kamui, he remained intact, for the most part. If that had been just a little bit stronger, I might have been in serious trouble. You gotta be kidding me, Rokuro said. How are you still alive? Don't sell yourself short. That maneuver of yours was pretty impressive. You had wasted so much power fighting me separately, you didn't have enough power to really seal the deal. That was more so an error on you than anything else. Though I have to say, you have piqued my interest, Twin Stars. You Kagare, time and time again. Why won't you stay dead? Just what do you want? What do we want? Isn't it obvious? We want exactly what you exorcists want. You want to wipe all of us out? And we want to do the same to you. But for me, I could care less which side wins this war. All I want is a challenge. I think we're done for the day. We're not done. We're far from... We're done. You have potential, but potential will only get you so far. Train and get stronger. Or produce the Miko and I'll fight it instead. That crap again? You think I'm just gonna sit around and wait for you to fight my child? Rokuro said. You think I'd ever put my child through that? It would be a cold day in hell before I let it happen. You're just gonna have to kill me. If that's what you wish, fine. The next time we meet, I'll kill you. And I'll kill the girl too. So next time, I advise that you try to get stronger. Otherwise, your only options, die fast or die slow. With that, Kamui would disappear into the shadows of Magano, as both Rokuro and Benio would pass out. Though thankfully, someone was watching over them. Chief Exorcist Arima. He was going to be late for a certain rendezvous, but he just wanted to confirm for himself. The twin stars continued to grow strong. If they could produce the Miko, the tide of battle with the Kagare would change forever. But of course, he also knew that deep down they had pride as exorcists. They wanted to get stronger for their own sake, and he respected that, as he carried both children safely out of Magano. The twin stars continued to grow stronger, day by day. It's obvious to me, the fated prophecy will come true. The Miko will be born, the strongest of all exorcists. The war with the Kagare, it will be settled once and for all. I know you have your dreams, Rokuro, Benio. But I must implore you, for the sake of the world, please. You may be the only ones who can provide mankind with hope. For if either of you are to die, then all will truly be lost. Later on that evening, inside of a private conference room, one that had been booked specifically for this occasion, Arima would see the attendant, asking to be taken all the way to the 21st floor. He was shown his way to the elevator, enjoying the music casually. The door would open as a short, stubbled old woman would join him. She was dressed in simple garb and attire, her hair long since faded, the smell of alcohol and cigarettes reeking from her. Well, well, if it isn't the famous Genkai, Arima said. It's been forever if it's been a day. Tell me, how has the years been treating you? Shove it, you pervert. We only see each other every 5 years. And that's going to be coming to an end rather soon. Oh, is that so? Well, I hope the others are just as lively to see us. The doors opened as Botan would hand them some floral arrangements as well as some souvenirs for the occasion. Hello, Chief Exorcist Arima Tsuchimikado, and hello, Miss Genkai. Thank you for attending the conference of the CCO. With that, they would take their seats, along with the other 5. First, the headmaster of the Historical Compilation Committee, Toma Amakasu. Followed, the hero of the Hero Clan, the famed Jin Tojo, known to the demons as the Emerald Flash. Arima Tsuchimikado, chief of the Exorcist Society. Genkai, the world's strongest psychic. Miss Komoe, representative of Academy City. And finally, Nurari, representative of Yokai Academy, and representative of the monster community of the world. And leading the proceedings, the King of Spirit World, Koenma. Olger, you nincompoop! You've set my chair way too short!
Oh, sorry, sir. I just thought that maybe you were going to...
I know what you were thinking. I'm using this form. I feel no shame about it.
Well, sir, I just thought maybe, after the last meeting with the fudge and the...
Olger, if you mention that one more time, I swear you're getting 200 lashings.
No, sir. Please, sir. I'm sorry, sir.
Oh. Well, besides that, hello, everyone, Koenma would say. I hope you're all doing well. I know we meet every 5 years, but seriously, we should try to stay in contact a little bit more and... Yeah, I'll pass, Genkai would say. Oh, and by the way, this is my last time attending this thing. The others looked on a little surprised. Miss Komoe speaking up. Are you sure, Genkai? Why the sudden change? I've been attending these damned conferences for the last 30 years. It gets more and more tiring to come all the way out here every time I do it. Besides, someone like me in my old age, I have better things to do than play around with the fate of the world and all of that jazz. It's time for you to find my replacement, Koenma. Duly noted. Botan, add to the docket that this will be Genkai's final meeting with the CCO. Yes, the CCO. The Council Cosmic Order. This grouping of extraordinary individuals representing the various factions in the world and world powers, they came together every 5 years with the express goal of going over current and world events. Koenma had been leading the CCO for a while now, with members that came and go as time went on. Some retired of old age, some tragically passed. But now this was the current iteration, or at least the final version, as Genkai would be departing. For now, they would go over the various things taking place, from what was going on with the hero faction and dealing with the various demons from Demon Realm, or the Historical Compilation Committee, going over what was taking place in the Magic Society, what was going on with the world of technology and mankind in the human realm, what was going on with the Exorcists and the Kagare. Did Genkai have anything to share regarding the psychic community? And what about the world of monsters, vampires, werewolves, and all of that other stuff that goes bump in the night? These were the things that were often discussed, but among them, another topic. A topic about the next generation. I've seen that there have been a growing number of young individuals with great power, Koenma would say. I don't think that it's a coincidence that these powerful beings are starting to come into form. Jean, your son, is one of them. I'm aware. Even though we're currently not a part of the Hero Clan's home base, I know that my son's powers are only continuing to flourish, even if under extenuating circumstances. And as for you, Mr. Toma, In regards to the Campione of the world. Yes, the Campione, well, those of the older generation, they're starting to enter into their retirement phase. And I believe that a swelling crop of new and talented Campione will soon be on the rise. Have you heard any word from Princess Diana of Themyscira? No, sir, not at the moment. She continues to live alone in her isolation from mankind. But I believe that it would be for the best. We don't want to antagonize Campione after all. You never know where they'll fall on the side of things. In Genkai, psychics are continuing to drop left and right. I thought that you were going to have your detective go after Rando. That's the thing. I actually lost the detective recently. Sensui is no longer the Green Lantern. Really? And why is that? We've had our disagreements, and it seems it's time for him to go his own way. We also had an incident with the, infamous tape. That tape? Jean would say. Yes. Chapter Black. Nurari would take a drag from his cigarette, his eyes glowing under the shade of his cap. I would advise you not to lose the Chapter Black tape again, sir. As you'll know, there are many in the monster community who were deeply affected by the things that happened on that tape. If it became exposed or fell into the wrong hands, it could entice a major riot on our side, and we don't want that to happen now, do we? I agree, Miss Komoe would say. The borderlines between our various worlds, they're kept that way for a reason. If different communities were to discuss and intermingle amongst each other, it could spell disaster for our world as we know it. I agree. I think we've done a good enough job so far of maintaining the status quo, but we can never be too careful. What about you, Chief Arima? Oh, I have exciting news myself. Regarding the prophecy between the Exorcist and the Kagare, it seems that things are starting to move in a speedily direction. The Twin Star Exorcists have been reborn. A silence fell over the room. Are you sure about that? Nurari would say. The Twin Stars have returned. Yes, and not just that. I have received a prophecy from the stars itself. They are destined to give birth to the child of prophecy, the Miko, the one who will end the war with the Kagare once and for all. You actually believe that, Genkai said. Dealing with prophecies can be a tricky thing. You never know where it might lead you. I have faith in it. I received it through my premonitions. They are the Twin Star Exorcists. Benio Adashino and Rokuro Imado. Among all of the exorcists to ever be born, without a doubt, they will be the strongest. Of that, I am certain. This concludes Twin Star Exorcist Reborn. What if Rokuro and Benio were Hawkman and Hawkgirl? Season 1, Part 7. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned next time as we continue with Twin Star Exorcist Reborn. What if Rokuro and Benio were Hawkman and Hawkgirl? Season 1, Part 8. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.